Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with a topic session with Avalaura Gaither today. And today we're going to talk mental health issues and how they affect youth. And so she has a very good background in mental health and social work and psychology and, all of the things that help one heal, from Avalaura's Healing Center. I had to throw that plug in there for what she did.
Thank you.
But we're just going to just talk a little bit about that. And so what are some ideas that you have behind that?
Yeah, so it's actually an interesting I guess topic right now for the space that we're in, because I think mental health is finally starting to get the attention that it needs.
Yes.
I think I think for so long, if it's something that we can't physically see, then we don't think that it's real, right? Or we don't, or we think that it's somehow less important, or doesn't really make a difference. And I think that we're finally starting to recognize that the things that we can't see sometimes are even more important than the things that we can see. And so while you might have somebody who on the outside looks healthy, looks like they have it all together, looks like they are, adjusted in society, we don't really know what's going on with them internally. We don't know what's really happening inside. And I think that because now, there's been, unfortunately, so many suicides and, so much talk. I think, particularly when we started having suicide of what we consider celebrities, of people who have it all, right? Like, why would they do something like that?
Yeah.
I think that people started to recognize that, you know what? There's really things that are going on with people that we don't know. We never really know what's happening. We don't know people's stories. And we're not asking, we don't really seem to be concerned. We simply just look at what's going on with them, the outer trappings of things, and we think they should be fine. But it's really what's happening within a person, how they are perceiving life, how they are, what they perceive their reality to be. That's really what's important, not what actually is in fact happening. So a lot of times when I'm working with clients, it's one of the things that we talk about is not what's really going on in their life, but how do they perceive what's going on in their life? How do they look at things? How would they say things are? Because when we're talking about mental health, really we're talking about that, whatever it is, there's so many different illnesses, from, depression to, dissociative disorders to, so many different things. So it's really not so much about what the diagnosis is, but it's understanding that there's some sort of skew or some sort of breakdown within that person, that they're not really seeing reality the way that it is. And that's ultimately what we're talking about when we're talking about mental health. So we're talking about the fact that we need to address where that breakdown is and help them heal through it so that they can exist in this world as it is and not as they're perceiving it to be.
As you were saying those things, there were some things that came up to me. I think first, in our day-to-day operations, I think we need to operate in empathy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, you hear don't assume, don't assume. Well, to me as an educator and working with kids, I think, first of all, when you're teaching things, don't assume that they know it, teach it to them, but then I think there is something that you can assume about everybody, is that everybody has something that they may have gone through or that they struggle with. and we're all broken. You know, like none of us are perfect. You know, we all have a this or that that's wrong with us, or this or that that's happened to us, or you know, a this or that with how we look at some experiences that we had that we need to improve on, and that we can be better. And then, and that's why I think you know, the environment plays such a huge part of being
Absolutely.
around. I don't know, outward thinking people, you know, so that you can learn and look, just like, you know, when I interviewed you, you talked about when you went on your sabbatical, a 6-month sabbatical of learning all of these things that would make me better. I think if we can all quiet the noise some,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and you know, get some
Yeah.
time to reflect and look
Yep.
within so that we win. I think that it helps us. And then the last point I think that hit me too was, you know, I've been interviewed on a couple interviews, and people have asked me, like you mentioned, like the suicides of the, you know, the stars, the successful people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, people have asked me about, like, you know, school shootings, because I'm in education.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Yeah.
so, you know, my big deal on that is, it saddens me, you know, because that shows me that those kids that are doing those things, they haven't been reached,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
they don't feel that they're of any importance. So they feel that they have to do things to show that, hey, well, I am important, or look at me, or, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it is they're thinking. But that's the part that's sad to me. And I think when you assume that we're all broken, you know, somebody would have spoke to one of those kids, or given that one of those kids a smile, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's why it's super important to assume that we're all, none of us are perfect except for the big man, you know.
I agree with everything that you said, and it's so interesting. I'm doing my first retreat this year. It's for Black women, but it's really all about. It's in Spain in October, and it really is all about. We're calling it Unwind and Unplug, and the reason for that is exactly what we said, is that so many of us, and children experience this now too, which is really crazy. We're so inundated by what's going on in the world,
Yeah.
you know, social media, the news, what's going on in our own lives, in our family, in our jobs, or whatever it is, for kids going on in school and their families. And so and a lot of times, if people are just given the space to do that, they will realize that things aren't always as bad as they think it is. But when you're constantly being inundated day in and day out by negativity, by toxicity, you know, by all the problems in the world, you start to feel this heaviness. You start to take on this weight, and you start to feel powerless and hopelessness. And, you know, and people start to do crazy things. They literally start to go crazy
Mhm.
because we're in this toxic environment, and we're just constantly being fed toxicity, instead of just, let me take a time out, you know, let me get away from this, let me reconnect, and let me get back to the things that really matter, that are really important. We don't have that balance.
Mm. I totally agree on those things. If you can, um, you know, a few years back, they came out, you know, like I have like the regular headphones, you know, pods,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'm a music person, you know, I like music, you know, and, you know, certain brands are better and yada, yada, but, you know, Apple makes a good product. And so, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to the music, but, you know, if somebody comes by and says something to me, I can hear what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But if, you
Mm-hmm.
know, a few years back, they made these headphones where you can like put them over your ear,
Yes.
and
Yep.
you know, you muffle the sound, the noise
Yep.
cancellation. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and now the music. Oh man, I can hear the snare or the bass or the, you know, those, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the different words, the high and the low, and
Mm-hmm.
it's more refined. So I think that when we can do that in our life, find a way to cancel out the noise in our life, oh man,
Yes.
everything becomes
Yes.
clearer for us. And just, it's the
Yes.
same thing, just like you explained, you know. And I think too, if we can teach youth to start doing that at a young
Yeah.
age, like
Yes.
it's okay
Absolutely.
to
And it
have
can be
quiet
taught.
time. Yeah,
It's not hard.
yeah, it's
It's not
okay to
hard.
have
I mean, that's
quiet
why
time.
I'm a big I'm a big proponent of meditation. I teach meditation, and it was interesting. I can't remember. I think I was at Andrews Air Force Base. I was teaching at, and or maybe somewhere else. And one of the women who were there said, "Would you teach this in schools?" And I said, "Oh, absolutely, absolutely." But you know, you have that sort of bureaucracy that you have to go through. But absolutely, I would teach this in schools because children are more susceptible. They actually are better meditators than adults if they're taught. You know, so the earlier the better. You know, I have you know, parents, women who they'll learn, I teach something called Reiki. Is a form of energy healing, and they'll learn that, and they'll do it with their kids, and their kids will start to request it. Mommy, can you touch me? Can you do that Reiki? They enjoy it. They look for those things. So if they're exposed to it, children actually gravitate towards it. They love it. The problem is they're not being exposed to it, and they're not being told that this is something that they should prioritize in their lives.
Hmm. Well, lots of good points we hit on. Mental health issues and how they affect youth, but really, I think how it affects all of us. You
All of
know,
us.
mental health
Yeah.
issues, and so again, I want to say thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge with our audience. Truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for checking out this topic session. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.